What is the ultimate sign that your manifestation is on its way to you? Today on Awakening with Amy. Hi, welcome. I'm Amy Valentine, certified life coach, hoping to awaken within you a mindset that you can be, do, and have anything. And today, we're going to talk about signs, how they relate to our desires, and how to manifest. Okay, so if you're wondering, where it is, or if it's even possible, it meaning your desire. Well, stick around because we're going to delve a little bit deeper into the whole mystical world of manifesting today. So, signs. Signs are something that we often look for, right? We often go to tarot readers or psychics, or we consult maybe the internet and say, oh, I saw this kind of bird or this kind of plant. It must mean something. Let me see what it means. So signs and desire. It's a really important topic. Why? Because remember, I'm just going to remind you of what a desire is. I have to remind myself too. A desire is a divine urge for you to create something new. It is that higher you, the eternal you, your soul, your inner being that is urging you to expand, to open up, right? Like Jane Roberts said through Seth said through Jane Roberts, it's your inner eyes that I would open. Meaning your inner eyes, your inner knowing, your soul knowing, right? But what do we do? What do we often do when we're like bouncing around this physical world? A desire comes to us and we immediately doubt it. Because one, maybe we've never experienced it before, or one, we're just taught, we're programmed to believe in our limitations instead of our expansion. So this whole mystical part of manifesting is really just about getting to know that part of you, that part of us, that unseen part of us that is always fulfilled no matter what. And that part of us is always with us, right? We just have to remind ourselves of that. We have to turn to it, right? Consult with that instead of doing what the ego does, which is separating us from our desire. And when I say ego, understand the ego isn't a real manifestation. It's just a construct. It's just a construct of our physical mind. And what the ego's job is to separate us. I think Wayne Dyer said it best. He said, ego is another term for edging God out. And, when you turn to some of the symbolism in scripture, I and the Father are one, but the Father is greater than I. It's telling us, be still and know that I am God. There's so many ways they say the same thing, that we're always connected to source energy. But the Father is greater than I. What does that mean? That means that the Father, source energy, God, infinite intelligence, divine energy, only sees love, and love is unity, connection. So it doesn't even understand the ego. It doesn't know the ego. It doesn't see anything but oneness, right? That's why it's greater than we are, right? It's greater than us because we see separation, but we don't have to. And that's what this video is about. So signs. When we're looking out there for something to prove to us that our manifestation is on its way or even valid, right? We're creating a reality right now of always keeping our desire in the future. We're keeping it separate from us, meaning we have to work for it, try hard, figure it out, effort. That's just distracting us. That's the ego mind separating us, distracting us from our natural, true nature, our natural fulfillment, right? So signs, look at signs as simply the unseen becoming seen. Meaning, look at everything as a sign of your fulfillment. Even contrast, like Abraham Hicks says, if it weren't for the contrast, meaning the unwanted, you wouldn't even know that you have an expanded desire, that you want to be something more, right? And the ego, what does the ego do? The ego just wants to keep you small, keeps you in fear, because the ego only knows fear. But remember, the ego is just made up, because all fear is made up. It's false evidence appearing real. Right? Judge not by appearances. That's what it means. Don't judge by the way the ego sees the world. You want to judge righteously, which means see the world as the divine energy sees it, through the lens of unity and oneness and love, right? So Neville Goddard says about signs, he says they follow, they never proceed. So what do the signs follow? They follow who you are being. From what perspective and lens are you coming from? And when we're being one with the ego, then we're always separating ourselves from our desires and our dreams. And it's crazy because we don't have to do that. This is what this video is about. Just seeing beyond the physical world. Just to even just cultivate that inner eye, that inner knowing, that inner conviction that I can be, do, and have anything. All things are possible. And what's the missing piece? Often our belief in something outside of us, a power outside. That's just the lie of the ego. So we don't fight the ego. We want to hug the ego because the ego only knows fear. We just want to leave it chatter, leave it be in its own misery and just ignore it. Not ignore it like pretend it doesn't exist for us. No, it's a piece of relativity. We're here to experience what we are not so we can know and remember what we are. Really think about that. And this video, I just want to say real quick before I wrap it up, was inspired by an old friend of mine from college. Tony, you know who you are. We recently got back in touch over LinkedIn, and he was telling me that he, was thinking about some things that he wanted, and he's so fulfilled in one area, and there's this other area that I'm not going to divulge where he's not so fulfilled that he's questioning. So this video is for you, Tony. You don't have to figure anything out. You don't have to look for signs because you are the sign. Meaning every sign is within us. And Florence Scovel Shinn says this amazing way. She says the divine idea for everyone is plenty. So if desires are divine, that means desires are already our fulfillment. They're showing us our fulfillment. So trust that. Make friends with your desire. Allow it to unfold instead of trying to go out there and get it. Every time you try to go out there or look for signs out there, you're chasing your success instead of coming from a mindset, I already am success because I was born in a physical body and I am worthy of everything because that's my natural state. I just forget it from time to time. That's all. So what do? This is what we do. Every day we prepare for our success because the universe, why? The universe only knows the now moment. God only knows now. It knows nothing of linear time. This reminds me of my dad when he was alive on this physical plane. Took me to his favorite bar for their pulled pork sandwich. And we're sitting at the bar and he's like, Amy, look at that sign. And I looked up at the sign and it said, free beer tomorrow. And I just rolled my eyes. I'm like, Dad, he's like, come on, that's funny, isn't it? He's like, because every day that you come and sit at the bar, it's free beer tomorrow, and tomorrow never comes. So that's a perfect example of how there's only the now moment. That's why looking outside yourself, looking out there for the future just doesn't work. It's always the now moment. Tomorrow never comes. So keep that in your mind when you're absorbing this information about manifesting and how it works. Okay. So every day you must decide if you're going to listen to that ego, listen to your limitations. That's all made up. Or you're going to decide to listen to that unseen part of you. You're going to decide to have faith and trust in the only belief that you really need in a physical body, which is all things are possible, right? All things are possible to those who believe. That's all you have to believe. Believe in your good. Decide every day, no matter what's going on in the physical world. And I get it. We all have a bad day. We all have things going on that we wish we, weren't living. But when you look at all of that from the eyes of love, now you're connecting to the oneness of God, of the universe, and it must, once you turn to it, it must turn to you. But if you're looking for signs through the eyes of lack, worry, and limitation, then the universe can only show you that back. The universe isn't really showing it to you. It's what you see because you're coming from lack. Right? Like attracts like, as within, so without. So make everything, like Florence Scovel Shinn says, every situation, every person, a golden link in the chain of my good, and say conditions are conditions, but I am one with, I am God. Be still and know that I am God. I am the God of what? Of my own reality. And whatever I decide to be one with will become my life experience, will become manifested. So, just to recap, the only sign you need is that sign within yourself, that inner conviction to make that decision. Am I going to see through the eyes of love, through the eyes of God, source energy, the divine, right? Remember, the divine idea for all of us is plenty. Or am I going to look for signs out there, thinking my desires are always in the future or separate from me? And that is the sign that you're looking through the eyes of the ego. And that's going to keep you chasing, and never manifesting, never experiencing what you're meant to experience here in a physical body, which is your natural state of wish fulfilled. So just remember, you can be doing have anything you desire. It's up to you to believe it. And that's the only sign you truly ever need. Until next time, have a wonderful day. I offer one-on-one coaching if you are interested in understanding these concepts further and how to help you manifest more of your desire. Also, please like and share the video. Subscribe to the channel. I would love to have you.